So tell us about the night. We want to know all about what the guests. We should first talk about the guest list because there are some very big names invited to this.
There are. The guest list is going to be very eclectic. It's 320 of the Clintons' closest friends, and that also includes what they've called artists and creators. And these are some of the biggest names today in the entertainment industry and creators, the greatest minds in virtually every field, including the high-tech computer industry, because they've contributed a lot of money, the $15 million, to make this event a success.
Right now we're going to talk with Karen Feld. She is joining us. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Looking forward to a big night this evening.
Well, you look stunning already.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to be warm. We're all told to bring our long winter underwear under our black tie outfits to the White House this evening, because we'll be coming out here to the memorial for the big show.
No, I didn't ask you before because I thought you would tell me no, but can we get a shot of the boots? This is how festive this woman is. This woman is ready for the new Millennium. But now, at least the colder will go along with it. Now, what is the timetable for today with these festivities with the president?
Well, the White House gates will open at about 5:30 p.m. for invited guests. And there's 320 artists and creators invited to a big lavish dinner on the level of a state dinner this evening there. And they will have American wines and champagne and greet the president, and he will do the toast. It will be a whole complete dinner. And then at about 9 o'clock, they can all rush to the restrooms and put on their long johns and boots and heavy clothes, and they'll be bussed down to the Lincoln Memorial for the big show. At 1 o'clock in the morning, or whenever the festivities down here are complete, those guests will be bussed back to the White House, and there will be 500 additional guests who have been invited for a big midnight, so to speak, breakfast, champagne at the White House. There'll be 5 jazz bands playing till the wee hours of the morning. It's going to be a real party.
Now, we hate to name drop, but okay, we don't really hate to name drop here on Fox 5, so we talked about some of the people who we think will be there tonight. Who else is expected?
Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson, Itzhak Perlman, people like Michael Saylor, High Tech. This is artists and creators, so we're talking about major entertainers, producers, tech people. Don't forget there's been $15 million raised for this event from a lot of corporations. Those people will be represented. There'll be a lot of President Clinton's personal friends, including Vernon Jordan, Michael Berman, Lanny Davis. There'll be some congressional leaders and other friends of the president in Congress. The Chuck Robbs will be there, the John Glenns. It's going to be quite an evening.
Well, let me ask you this. With all the political types that will be there, high-tech types, what's the buzz going to be?
I think that on the surface, the buzz is certainly going to be the excitement and the Hollywood kind of stuff. Underneath it all, I know Secretary Donna Shalala will be there. She's going to be in close touch with her office about any Y2K problems that should arise. I'm sure a lot of the political people will be speculating about Yeltsin's retirement and what that means. And there's always that kind of buzz mixed in, as well as resolutions and hopes for the new millennium.
It is the president's house, after all.
It certainly is, and this is going to be the dinner to end all dinners there. It's going to be a real bash this evening.
Okay, I got to ask you. I know all the male viewers are saying, so what? But what are you wearing?
Well, I'm really pressed. I'm covering this, and I'm going to wear something warm. And since I generally prefer pantsuits to long ball gowns anyway, it'll be great to wear like velvet pants and something warm underneath and a fancy jacket. And I think we're going to see more pantsuits among the female guests this year, just from a practical point of view, because even at 40 degrees, if you're out here for 3 or 4 hours, it'll get to you.
And who are you looking forward to seeing as we close this interview up? Who are you looking for? The girl said Will Smith.
Well, I personally am curious to see Elizabeth Taylor, if she does show up, and who she would show up with. She's been escorted recently a lot by Rod Sterling or Jose Hebert, her hairdresser, but I think that she is such a legend that it'll be fabulous. All right, if she does show up.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Have a good time tonight.
The First Family ushers in the new year with a star-studded lineup. Find out what happened behind the scenes with Capital Connections columnist Karen Feld. It was quite an event. Karen Feld, columnist for Capital Connections, was at the party. She joins us this morning with details. Quite a millennial celebration going on at 1600
It really was,
Avenue.
and a 12-hour one, Josh.
Now, you got there at 5:30 when guests started to arrive.
Guests started arriving at 5:30. Of course, Liz Taylor was a couple hours late.
As
but
is her
the
nature.
rest of them, well, she was complaining about her back, and I think she really was in a lot of pain. But don't forget, it took a long time for these guests to go through security. There were 360 of them for the dinner, and a lot of them came with Louis Vuitton bags and golf bags, packed with everything from long underwear to jeans and heavy sweaters and boots. because they were going out to sit at the memorial for the big show.
But you were saying that this was an event that put comfort above protocol. Not everyone necessarily adapted that philosophy.
It was a little of both, and I think that, well, certainly in the close, and for the after parties, people changed. They were even changing on the bus. They bussed all these guests and the celebrities alike down to the memorial, and coming back and going down on the bus, they're all changing clothes right there. So the after parties were very casual, and in a lot of ways, Hollywood kind of style was put ahead of Washington protocol. For example, even at the dinners, which were billed as the equivalent of a state dinner, and I've covered all the state dinners during this administration, in Washington at the White House, husbands and wives are never seated at the same table together. And on this occasion, most of them were, except for the president's table.
And those who watched on C-SPAN, you could see the receiving line as guests came through. A lot of children were with their parents.
Well, that was the thing. What they did was they wanted families to be together. This is sort of the Clinton version of family values. So they had one dinner, and it was packed in the East Room, and the president was the host of that room. Then in the state dining room, Mrs. Clinton was there. Chelsea was also in the East Room, by the way. And then they had all these kids eating in a tent in the Rose Garden. And then for the after party, the tent was converted to a disco. And Mary Wilson, formerly with the Supremes, and they're going to be doing a big reunion thing, which she was very happy to tell everybody with Diana Ross and Cindy Birdsong. But she entertained with jazz bands and military bands, and there were still kids there. In fact, at 2 in the morning, there was one woman nursing her baby on the first floor of the White House while people were dancing around her. I mean, I have never seen this at the White House. Well, people packed video cameras as well, guests in their bags.
A 12-hour event that sort of expanded and shrank at various points. There were 380 guests invited to the 2 dinners, then everyone was bussed down to the Lincoln Memorial for the fireworks.
And there were an additional 500-600 guests later.
Came back.
That's right, for the late-night parties. And they had a whole nother feast. The early guests got caviar and lobster, rack of lamb. And then later on, there was a lot of champagne. There was lox and bagels. This was Hillary's big trip venture into New York here, and a lot of very fabulous desserts, buffet stations set up for the later parties until 6 in the morning. Now, the president stayed till about 2:30. He and another entourage, I think they had another private party upstairs from what I gather. He was pretty tired the next day, as were a lot of the entertainers who were all actually at Galileo's on Saturday night talking about it. So he had a party, but a lot of the other guests danced in the White House and stayed till dawn, till the sun came up.
Price tag for this event? Do we have a final figure?
Terry McAuliffe had raised about $16 million, corporate donations, about $1 million apiece, from various companies, mostly high-tech companies, to pay for quite a bit of it. And the guests were given Waterford crystal champagne glasses with the presidential seal when they left, as well as goodie bags with Eddie Bauer hats and mufflers and scarves and ski gloves. But the event on the mall, part of it came out of that. But we're talking about a $16 million price tag, and a lot of these people really felt they got their money's worth. And it wasn't put out as a quid pro quo, but it was understood that this gave a lot of these high-tech corporate types a chance to mingle not only with the president and first lady, but with the biggest stars in Hollywood. And there was Bill Clinton sitting at dinner, I mean, he was in his glory, between Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor, flanked by one on each side.
You've covered all the state dinners in this administration and a number of other parties as well as from your career. Where does this particular event rank among all of those?
This had to be the party of the century. It really did. And Steven Spielberg, who was not there, and he did the 18-minute video, but he told me that he was here earlier in the week, that he was just going to go home and stay in bed and watch it on TV. But he, I understand, was calling a lot of the shots, and he wanted to create the Hollywood mystique and kind of keep a lot of the paparazzi press outside. Of course, it's not really like a Hollywood premiere because they had to go through security before they could be, quote, outside. But a lot of that, I understand, was his idea. And then a lot of it also, this party, the purpose was to glorify Hillary and set her up for her Senate race. It was like a big launch. I mean, the whole theme was her idea of honoring the past and imagining the future. And the interesting thing was John Fogerty, he came in and he said, well, in the future, we won't even need a president with the internet and all the cell phones and everything.
Interesting to see what sort of a launch
But he still wanted to come back.
Of course.
Exactly.
Karen Feld, very nice to see you.
Thank you.